Morning routine of a single woman. A quick stretch and then it's straight to the kitchen for brekkie.
The risks were outweighed by the potential benefit.
You know, one thing that's always made me curious is why we're constantly told that we're unique and different from others, yet at the same time we are taught to follow the same life cycle as everyone else. Like first we need to get an education, after we can look for a job, and then it's time for marriage and kids, so you can live happily after. But the question is, will you live happily after? Because we all know that having an education doesn't guarantee you that you will have a great job. Having a job doesn't guarantee you that your income is gonna be enough to cover all your needs. And marriage and kids don't guarantee you that you're gonna be happy and fulfilled. But while education is essential for you to find a proper job and the job is necessary to survive, well, marriage is totally optional. That's a personal choice, not a necessity, and that's why recently more and more people choose to stay single. According to the recent statistics, more than 60% of young men and 34% of young women are single, and by 2030 the percentage of single women can be increased to 45%. And lots of these people aren't even looking today and feel pretty content being on their own. So the question is, why do more and more people choose to stay single? Let's talk about it today. But before we start, please don't forget to like this video and follow me here on YouTube not to miss any videos of mine in the future, and of course to support my channel. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram where I share more wellness tips and my personal life, and of course get comfortable and let's begin. So how did it happen that more and more people choose to stay single, when just a few decades ago being single and not having a family was considered as something unnatural and was even highly judged by society? For you to understand the numbers, in 1960 a bit less than 7 million Americans lived alone, when in 2022 this number increased to 38.1 million people. And it happens not only in US but all over the world. Actually, the highest rates of one-person households occur in Europe. But this dramatic shift can be explained, and today we're gonna focus on a few main factors. Economic changes played a major role in the rising number of single people. And one of the most obvious things that happened was that women entered the labor force and gained more economic control over their lives, and consequently, marriage stopped being an economic necessity as before. Now, women have more opportunities compared to the previous century. They can pursue their dreams and careers, they can travel and explore the world, they can be more selective when choosing a future partner, which is a really great thing if you ask me. Because statistics show that marriages starting later in life appear to be more stable and less likely to end in divorce, because they're simply more aware. Another thing that contributes to the rising number of single people is the change in values, and you may ask me how it's connected to the economy. Well, happiness started to be associated with materialistic achievements, but the thing is that cost of living is pretty high right now.
The most responsible thing you can do in 2025 is stay in bed, because everything is so expensive and anytime you move it costs you money.
Things such as food, clothes, rent, healthcare aren't cheap, and because of that, lots of people move to bigger, more developed cities or even different countries seeking better financial opportunities and the quality of life. But in order to get that, people are forced to work 10 to 12 hours per day, which leaves them with no time or energy for social activities where they can meet new people. And maybe working online could give people a bit more freedom in movement and time, but most of them prefer working from home, which makes them completely isolated. So basically, to settle and to be satisfied financially, people just decide to delay relationships.
Love will find you when you least expect it. How? When I'm at home all day like this.
But let's not forget that humans are social beings, and we need some types of social connections for our mental health. Like those people who are able to make friends or at least work in the team maybe can handle the situation easier, and perhaps for them it's not a big deal. But people who cannot make friends, and especially those who work remotely, can feel pretty lonely and frustrated. And that's why many of these people, in order to deal with stress, loneliness and work pressure, get, for example, pets or even robots. Yes, now robots are a part of our life, and there are specific specific robots for communication and emotional support. For example, Kiki. It can move its torso around to see what's happening in the room. It can shake its head, imitating dancing when the music is on. Kiki can even recognize its owner because of the little camera installed in its nose. And Kiki can express the range of emotions such as fear, anger, joy, and surprise. If you ask me, I think it's a bit of a desperate move, but I mean, if it helps someone to cope with their mental health, then why not? Plus, it's definitely cheaper than kids in marriage. And lastly, about the economy, let's face the fact that jobs right now aren't as stable as before, and this financial uncertainty makes lots of people hesitant about having relationships and especially creating the family. Because not only you need to take a financial responsibility, but also you need to provide some sense of stability, which is a pretty difficult thing to do right now. Well, I already mentioned before that a few decades ago, being single was perceived as a failure to fulfill traditional expectations. However, today's society doesn't stigmatize single people as before and embraces diverse lifestyles much more. And thanks to that, more young people see their 20s and 30s as a time to invest in themselves rather than in relationships, because single life offers more freedom in decision making and lifestyle choices. Plus, don't forget that now we have an easier access to knowledge, and because of that, more people take care of their physical and mental health. Consequently, people live longer, which allows them to delay relationships. If 60 years ago the average age for marriages was early 20s for both men and women, well, now it's late 20s and early 30s. Young people choose to spend this time exploring the world, improving their physical and mental health, choosing what career to pursue, enjoying life, and finding the right partner who would align with their values and vision of life. Being single stopped to be perceived as waiting for a significant one, but rather as an intentional and fulfilling lifestyle choice. People stopped seeing marriage and relationships as an end goal, and many of them started to prioritize self-care and mental health, which helps them to find happiness and fulfillment outside of romantic relationships. As we have already spoken earlier, just a few decades ago, marriage was almost a necessity for social acceptance and female financial stability. Men supposed to provide, while women supposed to take care of the house and the children. But since women started to have more independence, the perception of marriage changed as well. It stopped being a duty and started to be more about love, compatibility, and emotional fulfillment. And while we observe women adjusting to new reality and focusing on finding deep personal connections, the majority of men expect women to continue living by the traditions of the previous century, which creates kind of like a gender war, if you know what I mean. Women keep telling men that they want to be treated as humans, not as servants or properties, because their dream, interests, and desires matter. But the majority of men keep saying things such as, you should stay home, you shouldn't work because I'm a provider here, your place is in the kitchen, you have to give me children, you should close your body, you have to be weak, you have to look young, you have to be skinny, etc. And of course, women are tired of this attitude because they don't see in man an equal partner. All they see it's an additional child, a burden. And that's why women choose to stay single. And actually, the statistics shows that childless single women are the happiest subgroup of the population. I mean, it tells us something, right? Even those women who were previously married, but for some reasons became single again, decide not to marry one more time because they want to enjoy the rest of their lives instead of serving a man. Because according to them, the man is a bigger source of stress than even kids.
All I dream of is your eyes. All I long for is your touch.
Women are exhausted of being in relationships where no one acknowledges their hard work. They are tired of living as single women while being married. Women are tired of being mothers to their husbands. They want to be wives. They look for a partner, not a baby. Because taking care of the house and children, it's not a woman's job. It's a job of any grown-up person. Women just want men to equally invest in relationships and show up. Why is it so difficult to understand for someone?
According to alpha males on the internet, beta males like myself live miserable, unfulfilling lives. So here's a day in the life of a beta male. First, I make coffee and have breakfast with my wife. We talk to each other as equals before we both go to work. At work, I have normal conversations with my coworkers. I've never been sent to HR for being a creep once. After work, I pick up my kids from school and take them to the park. No one gives me weird looks or treats me any differently because I'm just another parent taking care of my kids. Once I get home, I spend some time scrolling on social media. Sometimes videos that don't appeal to me show up in my feed, but I just ignore those. Before going to bed, my wife tells me how how much she loves me because I actually pay attention to her needs and make her happy.
And the situation could be easily fixed, you know, if men would just stop being driven by stereotypes and would start participating in relationships. But what do you think those men do when they hear women expressing their standards and desires? Of course, they get defensive, they blame all their problems on women and try to make women feel insecure because a woman stepping in her strengths just simply hurts his fragile ego.
Why no masculine man wants an alpha female?
And who hurt you? Like, what was her name? Was it Mother?
And honestly, I don't want to hate on men right now, because from my personal experience, the majority of men are actually great, you know. I had lots of male friends during my life, and I never heard any disrespect towards women or something. But when I go to comment sections on social media, seeing the words men say to women makes my blood boil. Like, aren't you disgusted by yourself for saying something like that? What if someone would speak like this to your wife, to your mom, to your daughter, to your sister, whatsoever, you know? Would you like it? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I was raised to respect any person despite their gender, nationality, skin color, religion, sexuality, whatsoever, you know. So whatever is going on social media is just truly beyond my understanding. Even though being single has lots of advantages, we need to understand that relationships play an important role in our lives because it has an impact on our mental health and consequently the quality of life. The lack of deep, meaningful social connections can lead to loneliness, which can be as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. There is no particular solution to reduce the rising number of lonely people, but what we know for sure is that in order to create deep human connections, we need to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, express our feelings, emotions, and desires, and of course to be our authentic selves, which can be a pretty difficult thing to do specifically for men because of the toxic masculinity.
Have you ever considered serving people instead of actually like wanting something from them all the time? Yeah, but I do this and I make money and I'm in So what, dude? So what? Nobody owes you anything. I can't even scroll TikTok and Instagram without like seeing like men being red-pilled and like, yeah, I'm a man. Okay, if you're a man, then prove it. Stop needing people's validation all the time. Nobody owes you anything. I get it's hard in the dating scene right now, but it's only as hard as you make it out to be, dude. It's okay to get rejected. You ever just go out somewhere by yourself? It's nice. Just love Jesus, love people, make some money. It's not that hard.
Despite the stereotype that single women suffer and single men enjoy their freedom, statistics prove the opposite. Single childless men are the loneliest subgroup of the population, which has a damaging impact on their mental health. Men are taught to shut off their emotions since they're kids, and because of that, emotional expression becomes so foreign that men start to avoid it in others too, which complicates the process of building healthy and strong relationships. And of course, we all know that a lot of men are expecting women in relationships to take care of their social life, of their physical and mental health, but fortunately or unfortunately, it's only up to men to take care of their mental health and start building communities and friendships that will support, understand, and help to become emotionally open and available.
Because this is a great idea. Guys, fellas, boys, we should do this. We should be going out with other guys to fancy dinners as a little treat. Talking, venting, opening up, maybe even being a little vulnerable. And both giving and getting some of that emotional labor that we almost exclusively expect of the women in our lives.
Of course, I want you to understand that there is so much more to today's topic, but I guess in the end, I just want to remind everyone to remember that each of us has some problems and struggles. And instead of constantly attacking each other, especially on social media, let's try to understand each other. Let's try to support and just be kind. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and if you have any thoughts about today's topic or maybe some personal experiences you would love to share, you're so welcome to do that in comments. And today I guess I just want to wish you to prioritize your own happiness first of all, to love yourself, to experience this beautiful life, and of course, to have a wonderful day today. And I will see you in the next one.